looking at Baby Bear and Goldilocks from Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And this was sort of the starting point for this series of paintings. I wanted to explore the girls who didn't come out of the woods and go off and marry princes and sort of buy into the whole like different sort of fantasy world of how to find themselves. I wanted to find the girls who stayed in the woods and found themselves there. So to make sure that you could tell that it was Baby Bear, I ended up giving him a big gold sort of Run DMC dookie chain with baby on it. And then I liked that so much, I thought that was such a funny thing that I gave him a gold tooth, a little diamond chip, and a big bling ring, and he's got his big bowl of porridge. And then their little cabin is in the background, and the landscape kind of continues across. And in my paintings, I often like to reimagine stories with these happier endings than the stories or films or TV shows had. So in my imagination, when Baby Bear and Goldie see each other that first time, it's a love at first sight moment. And they fall in love and grow up together in the woods, and they stay in the little cabin together. And she's got her just right brand oatmeal and her spoon, because they're sharing a nice bowl of porridge. And of course, she lives in the same world that he does, so she has her big gold door knocker earrings and her nameplate necklace, just in case you weren't, getting it. And on my inspiration wall, you can see me posing as Goldie. Obviously, I didn't use myself as a model because I'm not a natural blonde. And some of my little, I got a nice dookie chain cheap on eBay so that I could see what those looked like, and my Run DMC album that sort of was also one of the original inspirations for a lot of the pieces in the show. And originally it was going to be more just all about them. So I did, this kind of little mini Love Conquers All piece where they're holding hands. That's Omnia Vincit Amor means love conquers all. Even interspecies romance, love conquers all. But I got so into the idea of the woods that I didn't want to come out of the forest either. I wanted to stay in there and see who else lived in the forest with them. So I ended up, instead of staying out here, going in there. And so the forest that's kind of the background for these paintings became the setting for all the rest of the paintings. So in the forest, Goldie, who has completely gone to the bears and has shown her love with her big honey dripper tattoo. Instead of a heart with an arrow, it's a big beehive. And the three bears are all hanging out at the hot springs. They have a lovely bar of Dove soap and a little towel to hang out. And other denizens of the forest include the mockingbirds hanging out on a big boom box jammed up in a tree having a rap war. We're not sure exactly what tape's playing. I think I'll leave that up to the imagination. And there's this chill quill porcupine with his little love-hate rings and his afro pick hanging out on his nice mossy stump. The mighty redwoods. I went to Muir Woods and took lots and lots of photographs of trees and moss-covered branches and dappley light on plants, and it was very, very inspiring. And there's a nice red squirrel, and in the squirrel world, the kind of bling a squirrel would value would be nuts. So that's what he's showing off, is his big gold acorn. He's quite proud of himself. And this is still in progress. It will be finished by the show. But this is all sort of the underpainting, so this is still very rough. You can see there's not a lot of contrast or detail and stuff on the necklace. But the background, I tend to work from the back forward. So the farthest things get painted first, and then I move forward, and paint the closest up. Okay, the other super exciting thing coming up is my lovely new monograph with Chronicle books. And it has all kinds of super special goody treats in it, besides just big, gorgeous, gorgeous color prints of the paintings, which look all fabulous. There's groovy things like this, where you get to see a painting in stages. The sketch, the sort of underpainting area, the first layer of kind of rough paint, and then of course the finish. And if you're really clever, you'll notice originally I was going to have him sitting in a chair. It was going to be inside. This was going to be like sort of a gargoyle-y carved wooden chair. And it just changed mid-painting, and I decided he needed to be outside with the ruins of this little castle and this big sort of wolf companion, because he's this kind of half-wolf child. The child of Red Riding Hood and the Big Bad Wolf, which is another sort of take on making a fairy tale with a happy ending. So you'll see there's running themes that run through these works. And the companion to this gorgeous book is the extremely groovy Postcard book, which is just kick-ass packaging. it's like a little treasure box. Look at that. You've got your fabric binding on there. And it also is full of all kinds of beautiful, lovely pictures, 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 pictures. Goodness for days. Including Goldie.